Hi, fourth graders. So we've started reading The One and Only Bob. This is just a for fun reading, so this is just something if you are interested in finding out what happens to Bob, what happened to Bob before he met Ivan, and what happens to Bob after the Big Top Mall and after Ivan is able to get them moved to a zoo, then this is the book for you. This is called The One and Only Bob, like I said. And this is also by the author Catherine Applegate, who wrote The One and Only Ivan. So we've started out in the first couple of parts that I've read, we found out that Bob really does have quite the swagger and attitude. And he doesn't really trust humans, and that is because of his experience. We find out that he was dumped from a truck and tossed out the window in a box. And he's kind of learning that things aren't always easy, and they're not always what you want. But when you're an animal, it helps to be a realist, which is what he says. So we're going to move on to the next part, and this is called Dream. This morning I wake up in my cozy bed, way too early for Julia to make me breakfast, because we've learned that after the Big Top Mall, he does get to move in with Julia. She and her mom and dad are still asleep, and even the guinea pigs are silent. My belly grumbles, and I once again curse my thumblessness, meaning he has no thumbs, so he can't open the dog food on his own. Humans are one big design flaw, the inferior noses, meaning they don't smell very good. They can't smell very good. The inscrutable humdrum rumps, meaning their tushies just aren't very good at all, and no tails. And don't get me started on their odor. So he thinks not only can we not smell very well, but we don't smell good either. But the opposable thumb idea, yeah, that was a nice upgrade. The cans I could open, the doorknobs I could conquer. Anyways, I feel worried. Off. Worry's a waste of time, and it doesn't fit with my tough guy act, but sometimes I can't seem to help myself. Before I woke up, I had been dreaming about Ivan and Ruby and Stella. It wasn't a nice dream, a fun and run toe twitcher. Nope, this one was a nightmare, a bad one. We were swimming, all four of us, in a black, raging river. For some reason, I was in the lead, and I kept looking back, telling them I was going to save them. Me! Save them! Two elephants, and a gorilla. Saved by this cute little Chihuahua puppy. As I paddled like mad, their voices faded. I looked behind me, and they had vanished. And then I heard it. A faint bark. That bark. I woke up then, like I always do. In the first part that we read, we learned a little bit about his brothers and sisters, and even his mom from when he was a puppy. And he talked about his sister, who they called Boss, and how she had a very distinct bark. And then he's hearing that bark in his dream. I woke up then, like I always do. I did an all-over shake, trying to toss off the stench of nightmare that clung to me like shampoo after a bath. I told myself to chill, get a grip, stop worrying about nothing. And yet, some primitive part of my brain, the wolf in me maybe, is on edge. A lot can go wrong in the moment left to chance, the blink of an eye, the bounce of a bone. There are so many ways the world can find to fail you. So he's not had a very good experience with humans and being protected. So this life with Julia is all new to him. The smell of a storm. By the time everyone else wakes up, I've calmed down, but the wind outside sure hasn't. It's an early fall Saturday, gusty with scraps of sun, clouds bouncing off each other like bunnies in a basket, messages on the wind pouring in from everywhere, from dogs making their daily rounds, from feral cats, meaning cats born and living in the wild, from anxious raccoons. Basically, everybody is asking the same thing. What is the deal with the weather today? I already know. The Weather Channel was on last night with a screen full of big white cotton candy looking swirls. Julia's dad, George, has already taped up several windows. Sarah, her mom, packed an emergency bag just in case we have to evacuate. Another hurricane is on its way. So in reading right now, we're reading about natural disasters. Well, another type of natural disaster is a hurricane, which is what they are trying to prepare for. Third one this season. Not as big as the last couple, but slow moving. I've seen the routine. I know the ropes. Once breakfast is done, I sit on the couch in the living room, waiting impatiently for Julia to come home so she can take me on our daily stroll. She has a dog walking service, and she's out walking other dogs. I get my own private walk, 'cause she's my own private girl. He's special. I can practically taste the storm coming through the open window. The back of my throat tingle, the metallic edge, the fizzy energy. But it's more than that. It's as if the air is up to no good, sneaking up on the world and looking for trouble. So they're preparing for an upcoming hurricane. On the poetry of stink is this chapter. Of course, not everybody can smell what I'm smelling. My nose is a zillion times more powerful than a human's. Dogs are experts at odor, students of stink. We analyze the air the way the humans read poetry, searching for invisible truths. So, just like a poet is an artist of words, he's saying dogs are the artists of smell. And we don't just smell the good and bad stuff that people notice with their substandard snozzes. The usual suspects, popcorn and lilacs and freshly colored sharpened pencils, diapers and Brussels sprouts and freaked out skunks. That's the good and the bad, I guess. Nope, our noses get it all. The whole shimmery double rainbow in April. Humans, they're lucky to get a cloudy day in November. We get that molecule of roast beef dancing on the wind 50 miles from the tidy kitchen where it just slid out of the oven. We get the cherry lollipop under the back seat of the Honda 16 cars up on the highway at rush hour. We get the things humans can't even dream of getting. We're the ones who find the miracle earthquake baby, another natural disaster that we've been reading about, cuddled up in her crib under tons of rubble. We're the ones who find lost hikers in the wilderness after a quick whiff of a sweaty sock. We can even tell when someone's sick. We can smell seizures and cancer and migraine headaches. Try getting your guinea pig to do that. We smell feelings too. Sad has a sharp scent with an undertone of sweetness. Sad smells like being lost in a winter forest as the sun goes down. So man, their smell, amazing. And happy is the best. But there's a ton of wistfulness around the edges. Happy smells like bacon ice cream served up in an expensive leather shoe. Now, if you are the type of dog that likes to chew on leather shoes, you're going to love every minute of it. But you also know it won't last forever. In order to have happiness, there has to be sadness. His next chapter is called The News. Sometimes when Julia and I go for walks, I'll break at the corner. Corners are the best for fresh news. And she'll tug and say, "Come on, Bob, there's nothing here." Oh, but there is. Here's the thing about poop and pee. I get that humans are not into them. I see the bathroom doors shut tight, the embarrassed, downcast glances. You guys are totally missing out. There's a whole lot of info hiding in your average P-mail. When dogs want to share the latest gossip, we just wait until nature calls. You'd be amazed what we can learn during a quick bathroom break. People read the news, check the TV, browse the web, ask Siri. I linger over a fire hydrant and inhale the whole wide world. My ears, by the way, are almost as remarkable as my nose. I pick up on all kinds of things humans can't hear. What we do with our noses and our ears is kind of like taking a big old knot and loosening it up, separating out each strand, unbraiding things. People smell a reeking pile of trash in a dumpster. We smell a dollop of cream cheese, a hint of peanut butter, and a smattering of Fruit Loops. People hear the roar of a crowd in a stadium. We hear a strain of whiny 4-year-old, a whisper of worried superfan, a note of grumpy hot dog vendor. Man, dogs are cool. And I have to agree with Bob here, because I'm a dog person, and I really think dogs are cool. This next chapter is called Snickers. Do you remember who Snickers is? Yeah, she was the dog that would jump on Stella's back and then help Stella do her trick. Or Snickers would stand on her back legs and Stella would stand on her back legs. So this is called Snickers. While I watch from my perch on the back of the couch, Julia passes by on the sidewalk. George asks her to keep her dog walking route close to home in case the weather changes. She's wearing a shiny purple raincoat and leading 3 dogs. A goofy mutt named Winston, a timid dachshund named Oscar Mayer, and her, Snickers. Remember, him and Snickers did not get along too well in the book, The One and Only Ivan. And in the movie, we really got to see how Bob was more down to earth. He was the street dog that was kind of rough and tough. And Snickers was the precious dog that was pampered. So they didn't get along at all. An old nemesis, or enemy, of mine. Snickers is a fluffy white poodle with delusions of grandeur, meaning she's crazy. She thinks she's better than everybody else, that she's just so grand. A big, snooty pain in the puffball. Oh, that pooch drives me crazy. Our mutual dislike goes back to my early days as a stray. Snickers was a fancy, pampered, sleep on a pink satin pillow kind of gal. Her owner, Mac, ran the mall where I lived with Ivan and Ruby. That's where I first encountered Snickers. She teased me mercilessly, and beneath the fuzzy facade, I always suspected there was a little, spark there. So maybe he doesn't hate her so much. Maybe he kind of likes her. Just a little. Anyways, after the mall closed down, Snickers, being Snickers, landed on her feet. Mac married an older widow lady with more money than sense, and she dotes on that ridiculous poodle. Mac's too lazy to walk Snickers himself, so he hired Julia to do it. So we found out here that, yes, in The One and Only Ivan, Helen left Mac. He ended up divorced. But here, he's remarried. He's found somebody to make him happy. "Looking good, Snick, baby," I call through the open window, and she gives me her curled lip, squinty-eyed face, which, come to think of it, is pretty much how she always looks. As usual, Snickers is dressed to the max, which is kind of what I do to my puppies. I dress them. She's wearing a pink poncho, a sparkling rain hat, and teensy pink boots. Well, I guess I don't put boots on my dogs, but they do have their coats and sweaters. "Those boots were made for walking," I add for good measure. It feels good giving her some grief, but before I can really relish the moment, another annoying acquaintance of mine appears. And this acquaintance is called Nutwit. Nutwit, the gray squirrel who lives in the live oak in our front lawn, jumps to a lower branch looking at me with barely concealed pity. I hate pity. especially the barely concealed kind. "I don't know why you taunt her," he says. "You're hardly in a position to talk, Bob. You are Snickers." Because Bob might not be wearing a pink poncho, but he's got his own couch, his own home. Even though he didn't trust humans, he's finally seen that maybe humans aren't so bad. At least Julia and George and Julia are doing really good by him. "Come over here to the window and say that. So you can what? Drool me to death?" "Are you aware that my best friend is a gorilla?" I ask. "You would make fantastic ape chow, dude." Nutwit reaches for a dangling acorn and yanks it free. "I thought gorillas were vegetarians." "Ivan eats termites," I say. "He might make an exception for you." "Face it, Bob, you're soft. You're one step away from your own pink rain boots." "He has a point," says Minnie, one of the family's guinea pigs, from her cage next to the TV. "No, he doesn't," says Moo, her cage mate, the other one. "Yes, he does," Minnie squeaks. "Doesn't." "Does." "Does." "Doesn't." Minnie pauses. "Wait, you tricked me." The guinea pigs rarely agree on anything. Nutwit leaps over the window ledge, acorn in paw. He presses his tiny twitchy nose to the screen. "You couldn't last a day out here, Bob. Some of us have to live by our wiles." "Hey, I lived on the street longer than you've been alive." Nutwit nibbles his acorn. He's quite the prissy eater. "Whatever you say, Bob." "I say scram." "Fine. Hint taken. Anyway, storm's en route. I should be stocking up on my nut stash while I can." Nutwit gives me a wise guy look. "That's how we do it in the real world." He scampers off with an acrobatic flourish. So he's saying, "Bob, you might have been a stray once, but now you're living in a big house with a fancy comfy couch and canned dog food. You are not a stray anymore." Squirrels never do a simple jump when a quadruple backflip cartwheel is an option, and that's what Nutwit has done. "You're full of it," I say, to nobody in particular. "We're full of it," says Minnie. "Yes, we're extremely full of it," says Moo, and they popcorn in agreement. Guinea pigs hop up and down when they're happy. It's called popcorning, and it's totally ridiculous. You're happy. Wag your tail like a real mammal. "I'm not soft," I mutter, nosing my protruding belly. I leap with effort off the couch. Then I head to the bathroom for a good long drink from the water bowl of power. Water bowl of power for a dog in the bathroom. What is he going to go get a drink from? Ew, the toilet. He calls it the water bowl of power. That's where we're going to stop today. And so we see here that Bob, even though he doesn't want to admit it, has kind of landed on his feet, just like Snickers has. So when we continue reading, the next chapter is called Spoiled. We're going to find out just how spoiled Bob has become. Bye, guys.